I can name all the cliches that many Asian Americans can speak to, right? Being called gook, chink, egg foo young, moments when people ask me, do I speak ching chong? Or the inverse of that, which is just as bad, is you speak English so well. Those are things that have become a permanent part of my being, my experience. And that's not to say that I get called gook every day. You don't have to be called gook every day to know how it feels. And it stays with you. And the next time something similar happens, your body will respond in that way. It's a very common experience where you can't even speak. It catches you off guard, and yet you know that it's going to happen, and it's a shock to your system. And then you're mad that you weren't able to defend yourself in ways that you wish you could have. And then sometimes, even when I intentionally have chosen not to defend myself in that moment or to challenge that exchange, and I intentionally did it, I regret it. And then I have to do all of that extra thinking for that situation. Was the outcome what I needed? The other feeling, other than rage, is again shame and guilt. So I start wondering whether my experience was actually a racialized experience. I think the nuances of racism is what impacts me the most. Again, the overt racist incidents, not to say it doesn't shock me, because it's always like this horrific offense, assault to the body. But I think it's the day-to-day nuances that really bothers me. Until I became a faculty, I didn't understand fully what race and racism meant, because at that moment I understood it theoretically. I had language for it. I had vocabulary, or at least some, that I gave myself permission to name it. And when you have that, it becomes so vibrant. You see it everywhere, whether it's in search committees and white men kind of putting me in my place kind of thing, where you have the chair whom everybody loves and reveres because he is privileged as this grandfatherly figure. When I articulate a perspective and he didn't like it, he would not only just school me, but then winks at me right afterwards. And then having my white female colleagues follow suit and say, you know what, he's right. You just haven't been here long enough to understand this is how it works. And feeling very isolated in that moment. Coping with racism, I'm still learning to distance myself from people who are unhealthy for me. And that's a process, because as much as I know that they can be toxic to my health, physically, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, I still seek their approval. I still think about their friendship. I still want it. Coping is a process for me. Some days are going to be better than others. Some moments I'm going to be very powerful and I'm going to speak truth and call it and not make a lot of friends, and I'll be okay with it. Other moments, I probably stay quiet. Everybody says to me, you got to advocate for yourself, Rossina. If you don't, nobody else will. And I thought, but that's the wrong answer, actually. I can't just advocate for myself and make things happen. I need a community, because I work to create a community of support for others. And I always wonder what it would be like to be on the other end where there's a community of support for me. And by that, I mean to validate my experiences too.